All right, so if you have one painful knee, just do one. If you have two painful knees, do both. But you gotta hug right up on the kneecap, on the low side, putting pressure each way on the band, getting all the way down that tendon, and then all the way back up. So I'm as close as I can be on the low side of the kneecap. And then with the other band, this one stays a little tighter and goes up and down. So you can see that I've covered more distance there than here. With it on, you're gonna do 20 1 1/4 squats. That's a squat, that's a quarter squat up, so 1 1/4. So all the way down, stay in the bottom one time. So that's 2, 3, 4, getting as deep as you can. You do that 20 times. If you had two painful knees, you would do one knee so that all your weight is coming down on that one band. And then you would just do the same thing on the other knee. From there, you go to your sled or your dead mill. There's no exact protocol on that other than getting as much burn as you can in your VMO. So I would start with the sled, and I would go with small, quick steps, and only if it's pain-free I can make the steps longer or add weight to the sled. So smaller and quicker is your focus, and only if you can do that pain-free you can inch the steps longer or add weight. But sleds vary, dead mills vary, the turf, the friction that you're on varies. So you just go until you get a burn, and then you go to the floor or you lay a mat down for more comfort, and you work on this stretch while you rest. So you work on that stretch while you rest, and then you go back to your sled and get a burn, and then stretch, and then get a burn. And on that third burn, you want to get, I have different boxes in here so I can make every inch tight, but you want to get your boxes out, and you start as low as you need to. Toe slightly out, keeping the glute locked. So if you look at it from this direction, my glute, my hip does not bend. This is wrong. This puts the pressure on the quad. So I'm keeping my glutes locked rather than here. You can see the knee's not over the toe. Here it's over the toe. Sets of 20, working up in height until you get as high as you can, keeping your heel down without bending the hip. So you go back and forth, 20, 20, 20, 20, going up, very gradiently in height. You don't even have to keep track of how many sets you do. I know that my ankle will bend. I can get here, but you can see that almost got me off. So right about, I know that for me, right about 8 inches is the limit of what I can do. So you're just trying to build the height. If 20 reps there at your maximum height doesn't burn in your quads, then you can add weight and keep going. Say that your knee hurt on going 6 inches, then go back to 4 inches and perform sets of 20 with weight, getting as heavy as you can. So this exercise, there's no number of sets. You have to actually take it to a limit. Either take it to a limit in terms of height, maybe you'll be on fire, but we have to get those VMOs working on this. So whatever height you can do without pain, without your heel lifting, without breaking the hip, and then if you can do 20 reps, keep adding weight. Back and forth, back and forth. So that's your target, is to get better and better at that exercise, at which point when you've tapped out that you've done the best you can for 20 reps, either the best height and weight, then you move. So we're taking that stretch that we initially worked on in the quads and we're bringing it up closer to the hip flexor by going one leg at a time, working on this stretch. So you're just gonna do this until you feel like they're maximally opened up. Might take a few minutes each side. Then you're gonna work into your split squat. And the split squat, you're just doing a few sets. If you can't keep the back knee from touching the floor and get the hamstring to cover the front calf with the heel down, then you have to elevate the front foot with whatever you need. You'll probably have to start with an 8-inch box or a 12-inch box. Now, this is about 8 inches. With this, you're not taking it to a limit like you did on the step up. On the step up, we're seeing how much can you do, how much height, how much weight can you do. Now with the split squat, you're just using it to warm up your knees one side at a time before we squat. So with this, with perfect technique, on the tippy toes, front foot flat, torso perfect, you just want to push until the shin is vertical, and then back. Push, back. 20 in a row at the bottom. 20 in a row. On the 20th one, stand up. Okay, and then you can work the other side. Just use your own body weight, and if it's easy, go lower. Down the road, we'll build this exercise to a maximum. Right now, we're really just trying to use it to warm up our legs. So keep it just body weight. Do 3 sets at the best depth you can. So if you're going super high and you're not feeling a stretch anymore in the back hip flexors, then you can try going a little lower. But you do 3 sets each leg with minimal breaks, just from shin vertical down. Slower makes it harder, but you're trying to be able to do this motion without feeling pain in the knee. So now, come here. So now, film from right here, from sideways. This is super important, and this is new data that you're not going to see anywhere else, even in my previous knee programs. So all the split squats, 3 sets of 20 split squats, were to warm you up for the squat. Now you're going to finish out 3 sets of 20 squats. But here's the super important part. You're going to hold it like a goblet, like this, and you're going to keep your arms tucked. Because at the bottom, if your elbows touch your knees or your legs, it means you're not upright enough. Either you need to elevate your heels more, or you need to put more pressure on the quads. And this doesn't count. See how my elbows are out? Keep the elbows in. Don't let them be below the knees. So they're not inside the knees. They're not on top of the knees. They're above, like this. And here's how I know if you do the squat right, and this is what you're looking for. You can either set up in a mirror, and of course you're going to be sending me your form. So if you want, you can just do it and let me analyze it. But it's very important that when you squat, this right here is not going to cure your knees the way we want it to. This right here is okay, but it's very simple. If you look at my knee, the knee has to go forward right there. Forward. So you're pushing this knee that way instead of that way. So it's not really how much weight you're holding. There's never a target in weight on this exercise because it's relative to how slow you go. I mean, if you went this slow for 20 reps, it would be insane. So it's relative to how slow you go, and it's relative to do your knees go forward or do they go backward. And so if your knees go backward, it's no good. You gotta lighten up the weight or you gotta add heel elevation. 20 of these in the bottom, pushing your knees forward with the elbows in and the elbows never going below the quads. And you might get the worst burn when you stand up on that 20th rep. So you're just doing 20 at the bottom. Rest 1 to 2 minutes. Only rest as long as you need. 3 sets working on your knees like that. So film from a side angle for me on this. Gotta film from a side angle. So I can see your knee at the bottom. Does it go back, which is not more pressure on the quad, or does it go forward? Forward. Forward. Okay. That's the end of the routine. And then, if you're totally trashed, that's fine. Just like with the floss bands, you don't have to do the floss bands. It'll work better with the floss bands. You also don't have to do this last exercise I'm going to show you. The 4 layers of sled, step up, split squat, squat, all 4 of those are essential for you to do. But the undercut layer of the bands, and then this last thing I'm going to show you, are not vital, but if you have the bands, if you have the energy to do this last exercise, It's very important. So you have to find something you can do without pain, similar to the step up. So in this case, your heel's gonna be all the way touching, each foot about 15 degrees out. Similar to the step up, you keep the glutes locked so it's all quad. So if this was all you could do right here without pain, that would be fine. You wanna reach your knees and go gradually lower and lower. So for example, this would be lower. You would go up to this, keeping the hips locked. You would reach your knees down, squeeze back up. So I'm keeping the glutes locked, so it's all quads, squeezing back up. As you go lower, your knees will get stronger and stronger until you would do it without push. Okay, but even if it's, no matter what height you have to work at, if you work at a level that you don't have knee pain, it's gonna finish off your quads and protect you even more. So there's 6 total things you can do, 4 that you have to do. The floss bands will help you get into the workout. And then the sissy squat will help you get even more bulletproof in your knees. Okay.